tonight, who is the author, also the producer of the motion picture The Exorcist, and the book, as you know, was on the bestseller list for over a year. And those of you who've seen the motion picture, a lot of things have been said about the film. Practically every place you go now, if you're at a cocktail party or in a home, that picture comes up, and you get violent reactions on both sides. Some people think it was a great picture, some critics thought it was not. I'll tell you one thing, when you see the picture, it leaves an impact on you when you walk out of the theater. You have known you've seen something. Would you welcome the author and producer, William Peter Blatty.
Good to see you. Yes.
Bill, I wish I could ask you one question that you probably have not been asked since that picture came out, but we screened it one night, and about 10 people watched the movie. Because people told us before you see it, they said, don't see the picture alone. They said, see it with people. And I think it's better to see it with people because you get divergent reactions to the picture.
Yeah, I know. There is one should not see the film alone, which is probably part of the problem with some of the negative reviews. You cannot, reviewers insist upon sitting alone in a cold screening room. And there is a chemistry. I mean, the film is an assault upon the nervous system.
It is that.
And the concentration of other bodies around you and other brains around you is a part of the effect or the impact of the film.
Yeah, it's like watching a picture in a drive-in sometimes where you don't have the reaction with the other people. You're hearing it all by yourself.
Well, comedy. I mean, you can't see a comedy in the drive-in.
It's murders. Did you think the picture was going to get this kind of reaction? Now, as I said, some of the critics in the East didn't care for the picture. Many other reviewers of fine credentials thought it was one of the year's 10 best pictures. There seems to get that kind of a violent reaction. But I suppose that's true in this kind of a picture, or anything that is shocking and has a controversial theme about it.
Well, I wouldn't be so benign with some of the reviewers who were negative. I mean, I think Pauline Kael, for example, needs an enema. And
No, I did not read her review. Did she?
I mean, her reviews always are so full of personal poison attacks upon the makers of films. I mean, what do you say about a woman who thinks that Psycho was a playful film, that The French Connection was a fascist film? I mean, this is a serious study for a psychiatrist, I think. Pauline Kael.
I've asked excuse me if I could interrupt you, but I've asked people who saw the picture and said they didn't, and they said, well, I said, did you read the book? And they said, yes. I said, well, that's what the picture is, really.
Right.
You followed the book very faithfully, and the book was horrifying, and it's shocking, and it assaults your senses. And I assume that when you went to make the picture, that's what you went to do. That's what the story is about.
The intent is to move the viewer. This is based upon what we believe is an actual case. And in addition to having a passionate impact upon you, it's supposed to tell you something. As you know, there are people who have been fainting in the theater, between 5 and 10 every performance. And you wonder, is that too much? Well, when Aeschylus's Orestes was first presented before an ancient Greek audience, it's reported that grown men fainted. And of course, you wonder, really, only a psychiatrist is competent to comment on why we get this reaction. But I hope that it's because that the viewers, some viewers are frightened, but it's touching a nerve. And I wonder how often that nerve is the realization that the horror on that screen, that demon, is the ultimate father to, the ultimate blood relation to, and the ultimate destiny of cheating your brother and calling it business.
Yeah.
I think that's what it comes down to. But I'm happy about it. I mean, we have the smelling salts handy all the time, and I'm sorry that some people are made uncomfortable for it, but I'm glad because it's done what it's supposed to do.
It is a shocker, but I have found the interesting thing about it, as you say, when you see it with a group of people, you find out that people are affected by different things. Where some people will see a particular scene that might be physically unpleasant. That doesn't bother some people, but the language of the young girl, which she uses, upsets them tremendously.
Well, it should.
They see different things. It is upsetting, but the grown people will have different reactions to what they see as horrifying or obscene.
I myself, excuse me.
I'm sorry. Did the picture have any effect in the girl after? Is the girl all right?
The girl is so psychologically sturdy to begin with.
She's okay.
Oh, she's tremendous.
I think that was, I don't know how that
because
started.
you see, when I read I read that book before it went into the print. You know, Noel Marshall gave it to me.
Oh, yes.
With your typewriter,
Yes.
and it was a thing like this. And I said, where are they going to get this girl to play this? You know, and what is going to happen to the girl in the process of getting involved in this thing?
Fernanda, she giggled after every take. I mean, the whole
Fantastic.
procedure was silly to her.
Oh, really?
And you know what it is. You're surrounded by 80 technicians like Cape Canaveral.
Right.
Yeah, people forget that. I almost, watching the picture sometime, had to say, no, wait a minute. I know that there are 80 people standing around, and the prop men are doing these things to get my own mind away from what was going on, almost to bring it back to reality.
I thought it was a very religious film myself.
A lot of people have said that there is
the Catholic News, which is the official archdiocesan newspaper for New York City, called it a very deeply spiritual film.
They're calling it actually a fight
part of
between, if you believe in, this fight between Satan and God, right?
That's what bugged Pauline Kael. She said this is the greatest recruiting poster for organized religion since Going My Way. It irritates the hell out of her. You know, I really think Miss Kael needs has a speech impediment, namely her brain, which, if I've located its position correctly, the enema should solve.
I see.
I mean, she belongs. I want to do a number on it. I mean, these people say whatever they want about us, and we never have any recourse or rebuttal.
You bet. She didn't like Citizen Kane either, you know.
She didn't like Citizen Kane?
She didn't like Citizen Kane. He wrote the whole book about it.
She loved it.
No.
She is part. Excuse me. She's part of a small set of elitist reviewers in New York, who are so trapped inside the squirrel cage of their egos that their view of the objective world of reality outside is necessarily very blurred. Every pronouncement that they make is a papal bull. I have very little.
Well, it certainly is not disturbing the number of people who are going to see the motion picture.
great.
I read in the paper the other day that, I don't know if it's true, it almost sounded like a publicity item that the studio would put out, that people were lined up at 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning to see at 10:30 screening and couldn't get in and got angry, and there was almost a riot.
There were Harry Francis, the manager of the National Theater, showed up early in the morning to prepare for the 10:30 a.m. show this Saturday morning, and he found between 4,000 and 5,000 young people camped out. They'd done that Rose Bowl.
When you say young people, how old? Because I did say something on the other night on this show that I don't think young children, and I tried to delineate what I meant. I'm talking about children under 15 or younger. I think it might be a little too powerful for them, and a little too, it could be have a great effect on a child that, you know, might have a few problems to begin with their tensions.
An equally great problem is the neurotics among the adults who are going to see. I mean, that has just as terrible effect upon them.
Could straighten you out. You think it's a straight film. You saw it as a musical. What do you know? Let me ask you this, Bill. Let me take this break here first, and we'll come right back. After this word of interest.